Hi and welcome everyone. This is Lavender Sky Panther. Today is Friday, January 7th, 2022, and the topic for the day is called Winter Soul. It's a collection of images and sky observations happening December 14th through the 20th, 2021, actually, just prior to our winter solstice. So I'm covering a little bit of older material just to close out the year and make sure those are captured and documented. This is show number 140. I did release yesterday's show, was just called 2022 Up, and that covers the tail end of 2021 and heading on into 2022 as far as sky observations and nature observations. So if you haven't seen that one, have a look, hop over there if you like. Otherwise, let's just get into this and see what we've got. So before we do, though, I do have a couple of words, wisdom, and spirit of the day pages. This one is purely for the happy factor, I like to call it. It's the same happy factor I used to get when things were looking kind of down or work got real heavy. And if you go to a donut shop, which I really don't do much anymore other than for the coffee, you have a look at all of the ones available. And of course, I was drawn to the one with the pink frosting because that was just for the happy factor. And if you throw the sprinkles on there, even better. So this is my happy factor pink frosted donut with sprinkles. Happy factor picture with this adorable little snowman. And actually, you wouldn't believe how many people lit up all around the grocery store when I picked this thing up. It was in my cart or the front, and it had a little, plastic transparent window in there covering the cake, so everybody could see it. And I was just laughing because I didn't realize I had it, the cake faced and oriented in the right way that people could see this little face. And so as people were approaching me, they were laughing, long before they came closer to me. And I'm like, oh, it's the cake. So anyway, I hope this brings a smile to your face as well. And whether you're in the southern hemisphere or northern hemisphere, so of course, I want to jump back when I talk about winter solstice and the title and the reference. That's just, for the northern hemisphere, obviously, although I am located in South Florida, which is tropical to subtropical conditions, and it feels anything but winter here. So anybody in the southern hemisphere experiencing your summer, I'm right there with you. This is what it feels like. Anyone in the north who is, wishing to come down and have the sun and palm trees in Florida, with you in spirit there. But you know what? We'd like to come up there and play in the snow for a while. So anyway, we're with each other in spirit. Let's move on, though. So before we jump into this wisdom spirit, words, wisdom, and spirit of the day 2 page, I'd like to do the greetings from around the world, and I'd like to say good day, osio, how, buongiorno, guten tag, kia ora, jambo, kedu, buenos dias, bonjour, ni hao, dzień dobre, konnichiwa, dobrovonia, annyeonghaseyo, boa tarde, dobry den, aloha winala, kalimera, guten dag, and good day. And just give me one quick second. Okay, I'm back. So I wanted to cover this too today. Now, if you look at a previous show I have called Sky Gem Memory, in the intro and the Words, Wisdom, and Spirit of the Day pages, I cover some absolutely beautiful, beautiful passages and channelings coming from sacredgemstone.com. And Kelly over there has a gorgeous shop full of crystals, crystal grids. She does intuitive readings using crystal grid cards she has. So anyway, I just wanted to hop back in because over the holidays, I did have to come into some of these as a treat for myself and even for my birthday. So we've got the exquisite, just glorious Lemurian quartz crystal on the right-hand side here. And I held it in my hand and it just, it almost sings. It really is as if it sings out to the universe when you just really tune into it, just looking at it and holding it, especially outside. And as you can see, it just like self-illuminates. It's like a piece of glorious eternal ice, like an icicle, but not cold, just beautiful. So anyway, very special here. And I haven't even begun to work with it in beautiful ways where it will bring maximum magic, so to speak, all in good light. But just holding it, it just has made me very happy. So extra happy shout out, thankful shout out to Kelly over at sacredgemstone.com. This is exquisite, and there really aren't quite the right words to describe this, how incredibly beautiful and touching this thing is and moving. But I will go ahead and I do ask if you want to jump over to that show called Sky Gem Memory to get a ton more information in the front pages about this. I am going to just repeat a little passage that I read there on that show, just because it is the companion text with this crystal sent in by Kelly. So I'm just going to read it one more time. So if you can, just look at this if you want to anyway. If not, go ahead and skip to the sky observations. I don't mind if this is not for you, these messages. But if they are, have a look at this while I read. I just set it upon a coral stone that had some moss growing on it and some decaying leaves, but it just seemed to fit with this beautiful. Someone once told me that there's like a message came through for me long ago that was just talking about the concept of the beauty and the decay. So I feel like that might be a message for somebody. That was very mystifying to me when that message came to me. I don't think I still quite have a good fix on what that is. But if that's for you, just explore the concept of the beauty and the decay, okay? Anyway, let's get into it. So Lemurian quartz crystals. High vibration quartz crystals exhibit horizontal stepladder lines on the sides of the crystal. Actually, you can see some here a bit. These lines represent records of information encoded in the quartz from ancient Lemuria, cleansing and clearing negative energy and thought patterns, spiritual tool for self-healing and empowerment, drawing in divine healing light, accessing ancient knowledge, remembering your past in Lemuria, Atlantis, and starseed origins. Healing and understanding one's past focuses one's intention and brings clarity to inner visions. Crystal energy tool for accessing higher consciousness. I need not add anything to that. So if you will, just let that that settle in with you and see how all of that feels and see if anything really stood out to you as I read that and as you looked at the crystal. Now I want to hop over to the left-hand side of this image because I was so excited by this one. I had never heard of this crystal before until I found it in Kelly's shop, and it's forest crystals. And I'm going to read a passage. This one comes from Vancouver Island, British Columbia, Canada. And it is just, I got to tell you, it's like just a treasure. Like even just saying it's a piece of fine artwork is kind of an insult. This thing, I can only just say, it's just like heaven sent, like dropped in your hand from heaven. That's what I'm going to say. I'm holding it now. And it is just perfection, okay? So I'm going to read a little bit about it. So, and I love the idea of the forest crystal too, because if you noticed on my last show, I'm talking about a lot of interesting things. I recommend you at least see the very beginning related to ancient trees, the forest, and actually some very fascinating beings that inhabit the forests all over the world. So anyway, I'm going to read this little companion passage sent with this crystal, and it goes like this. Forest crystals. Actinolite phantom quartz crystals from Vancouver Island, British Columbia, Canada. Protection, regenerative, personal transformation, chakras, the roots of the first and the heart fourth. Root, first chakra, heart fourth. It offers protection from negative energies, raising one's vibration, accessing past wisdom, connecting with spirit guides, elementals, and higher consciousness. And I do want to say I was actually feeling it. I'm very interested in exploring the whole realm of elementals, so I was very excited by this crystal. Also, phantom crystals are catalysts for personal transformation and growth. These crystals come to you when you are ready to accept and fulfill your purpose. Work with forest crystals as an aid and tool in overcoming obstacles to align with your highest path. By being more open to life-changing situations and circumstances, you may find yourself experiencing a constant sense of déjà vu and synchronicity. Forest crystals' magnetic energy attracts people, situations, and circumstances to help you move into the next chapter of your life. You are ready to leave all that is no longer serving you behind, with gratitude for what you've learned. Now, do not look back. Everything you want is waiting for you. I love this, love this, love this. Coming in from sacredgemstone.com. And Kelly, thank you a million thanks. All right, that's all I'm going to say for now. I do recommend you go back and listen to those two passages. Really look at these crystals, and you may want one for yourself. I cannot tell you, I so love both, but there's just something really pulling me on this one. So it's just fun to see which crystal calls to you at different times in your life. All right, well, let's get into the sky observations part of the show. This is, again, I keep saying it, but like each show is a little bit atypical for what I've been doing in the past, and in this case, it's going to be no different. In the sense that on this one, I am not even going to give the intro for the new people here, but I do want to say a heartfelt thanks for being here to everyone, whether you're new or returning to this channel. A heartfelt thanks and a huge welcome to you. So for the new people, anybody new visiting, stopping by, please go see my show from yesterday. I do cover in the intro what I'm doing here and why I'm doing it. I'm pressed for time to record this, literally, like I don't know any moment I have to cut the cord, so to speak. So that's why I'm not going to do the full intro. But go look at the previous show, and otherwise you'll get the gist as I move through the show because I explain and narrate things in detail. Okay? Again, thank you everybody for being here, and happy New Year once more. All right, so in this particular scene, we're jumping back to Miami. Yesterday's show, we went from Miami and we went to North Florida. This time we're going to just stay in Miami area. So on the left-hand side's the original, the right-hand side's the enhanced version. And I just noticed on the left, looking up the sky, this clear, triangular imprint and weird, very specific cut geometry out of these clouds, right? So it definitely caught my attention, and also kind of inverted cut, a little less clear. These are really sharp edges. But anyway, jump to the right at the enhanced version, and I still see this clear triangular form. I don't know what's going on over here, but look how precise and cut that is. No natural cloud, just forms and has these cutouts. So that's why I'm saying this is absolutely some kind of cloak and craft, some type of extraterrestrial, whatever, supernatural phenomenon happening in here, because, that just doesn't happen in natural clouds. Now, when we continue this line down further on each side and we see the symmetry, we also have almost like a rounded bottom to this. So to me, this is absolutely a triangular form with intelligent design, calling it cloak and craft. We also get a weird indentation, not indentation, the opposite, something kind of like, looks like it's pushing through the cloud. It's an absolute perfect semicircular ring. And so that tells me there's something cloaking and hiding in here. And we're just seeing like the boundaries or the edges of it kind of pushing out through the cloud. In other shows, you'll see, and even in this one, I have machine parts popping out where you see tubes and pipes. And so I'm telling you, once again, it is cloak and craft are taking all of these images with the camera phone, and they pick up in a remarkable range of photo and light sensitivity, even on an old Android such as that I have. And I believe fully that this is a way of our friends in the cosmos telling us, or neighbors here within the earth, above the earth, whatever you want to say. I mean, it's these beings are everywhere, as we are here. Sure as we are here, I want to say. But anyway, I just think this is their way of offering a little soft disclosure, because we're not going to get the truth coming off of mainstream media. No way. So this way, everybody has the skies to access to look up and find these things. I highly recommend you do it. If you're not doing it already, 2 to 5 minutes a day, go up and look around you, make it a mission, and just look 360 degrees around you in the skies and start to notice some of the things that I've presented on my previous shows and that I'm presenting now. And do go look at all of the numerous Earth and Sky Watching channels still up on YouTube, because it's just people like myself or yourself going out, making direct observations all over the world, and you can start to compare notes and formulate what story you think is unfolding. What is your truth here of what's going on our planet? I'm seeing that nothing that we've been told in the past is really true, and this is a gorgeous, glorious age of discovery. We just left Age of Pisces, going into Age of Aquarius to start to discover the self, communicate with each other, which is what we're doing all over YouTube, finding the truth here and sharing it. And also, it's an age of coming together. So, evil forces have done their darndest to keep us apart in the last couple of years especially. Well, guess what? We're kicking all that to the curb. Now is the time that we are all coming together in ways, and more powerful ways, that we ever knew existed. So happy 2022 with that again. All right, so let's move on. I'm zooming in a little bit here and playing with the contrast, color saturation, and brightness when I do the enhancements, just to see if we can get or better draw out what's really going on in these scenes. Here I don't get it too much more, but you can't deny that's not a natural form in a cloud. I hope you can anyway, or start to see this. Hang on one second. Okay, I'm back. But what's interesting here too is the color signatures. Something different is definitely happening around here at the tip of the triangle. And we've got this warmer tone, this kind of raspberry red pink. I also invite you to go look down in the description box below to see what could be generating these red-pink color signatures. And then oddly, we get like a flash of this yellow gold while everything else is white. So the whole scene just tells me there's something that's something here more than meets the eye. Do a little transformer cliche thing, but look at the perimeter here too. We've got some glowing activities, so that tells me something is in here local generating these color signatures. We pick up a little bit more of the raspberry down here, but see what you think is going on. I don't know what this is in the center happening, but come on, look at this thing. what the heck is this when you look at the outline of this? Look how sharp these lines, they're straight. It's almost a near perfect right angle too. It's a little bit obtuse. So all I can do is chalk that up to saying there's some type of cloaking craft or other object activity going on up there. Now we move looking toward the north, and this was just a strange, overall configuration. Looked like something was emerging down here. And again, when I see a line coming down and then I have another one going perpendicular to it, that does not happen in natural clouds as well. So you better believe it. We're going to the right-hand side to look at it with enhancement. Start to see this very rigid opening, kind of like an oblong ellipse, and really rigid kind of construction here. So to me, that shows there's intelligent design happening in there, because again, you don't have a cloud doing that on its own. And there's a very clear edge, excuse me, with some reflection points and with shadow down here. So that's enough to tell me we're dealing with something, out of this world, so to speak. We got a straight line here too. So again, none of that happens in natural cloud activity. And we even kind of get the sense that there might be something cloaking here, because I also detect some type of structure happening in here where my cursor is. And it's almost like this thing kind of like flew out of either here or just kind of trailed out and emerged out of this, burst out of this cloud to to be visible right down here. But see what you think as always. Zooming in on it one more time so you maybe see what I'm seeing at this little weird anomaly here, this elliptical form with a clear rim of some sorts. Look at even here we have like a little bit of a bulbous activity here and here with shadow below it. So come on, that's rigid structure. That doesn't happen in natural clouds. And here we get a little bit more of a view of what's going on up here. This I can't tell now if this is a solid or a void. Sometimes that's a little tricky to detect in some of these things. Also, we get like a point, we get a sharp line here and here. So this thing is just riddled with stuff, with tech or advanced technologies. What I'm going to say. Now we're going to look southwest, and I just had to laugh. I actually did, LOL, laugh out loud, because I'm looking for the sun, and this thing is just parked right in front of it. This is an artificial cloud assembly. This is not a natural cumulus cloud or any other that we would normally find in the skies of South Florida, and I know because I grew up outdoors 10 hours a day, and I've been on this planet for many decades, and this was never natural to our local environment here. We also have kind of a swath here off to the right, like something is like a jigsaw piece almost. That also doesn't happen with clouds. If we look to the right, we see a triangular form, perfectly so, symmetrical with a sharp edge, straight line on all the sides. It does not happen in nature or in clouds. I'm going to say it again. Now on the right hand side too, before I go to the enhancements on both of these, because it'll get blown out a little bit, you won't see it. If you really look, you'll see red-pink lens petals here, and that's covered on another show, and also by other Earth and Sky watching channels like Jeff P. and Nigel's View on Things. There's a ton of people who cover this. Think even Naughty Beaver and the Nostradamus Prophecies, all these great YouTube channels. You'll start to see these red petals, and these belong to tech up in the sky that's veiling and concealing our view, preventing us from seeing our original sun. And this thing is much closer. It's a combination of projection and reflection, kind of a smoke and mirrors, if you will. I cover that on other shows. I'm not going to go into it now. I'm just saying, though, that you can see the evidence of this array moving around this artificial tech, which is what this is. It's white and fixed and glaring. You get these weird shoot-offs here. These radiating beams aren't natural to our original sun, which would be yellow, by the way, even if pale yellow, lightly pulsing. This thing is bright, fixed, and glaring, as I've said on other shows, with patents pulled back in the 1960s. Anyway, have fun exploring that. But anyway, now we're going to go to this with some enhancements, mainly on the right. And we just see this does not look like a real, this looks very artificial in how this is emanating. Then we get weird smoky haze behind it. Strange things happening around it too. And this thing still is sitting there like a boulder. It hasn't moved for quite a long time, all telling me it's artificial cloud at play with artificial tech going on all around this thing, in addition to this itself being artificial technology and a whole system of it. Anyway, we zoom in at B.2, and we'd sure enough see some really strange things supposedly right behind or near the sun, and coming around these radiating rays, right? So anyway, just overall strange. I'm not going to really get into this too much more, other than this looks like a darker triangular form here as well. Look at the really wild ass, I'm going to just say color signatures. How do we get a bright white glaring almost to like white blue ball, and then this is all red? That just doesn't pop up in my photos. If anything, all of this should be blinded out white. Anyway, go figure about that. Maybe ponder that for a while and do your own research between my channel, other channels. patents pulled in the 60s and probably 50s. Anyway, have fun looking into that whole concept if it's not familiar to you of the artificial sun or solar simulator. All right, now we're going to move to the eastern sky, and this is toward the afternoon. It was a cloudy day, but on the left-hand side is the original, right-hand's the enhancement. So I just started to notice this hard line with shadow below it, and again, the whole configuration doesn't happen naturally in cloud systems. Down toward B, I was seeing a perfect diamond shape. Once again, same thing. We got perfect geometry, symmetrical. Doesn't happen in cloud systems unless you're talking maybe a planet or star or whatever. Anyway, here we go at 8.1 with enhancement. We see this is something. I can't really tell you what. This even might just be part of something bigger that's being obscured up here in this black area. But then down here we start to see rumblings of, engineered designed elements, because that's a perfect diamond shape. And then down here too, it starts to get into some rigid shapes that look like they have design. Looks like these are edges, maybe machine parts popping out, of a bigger craft. We have a line, sharp line here and here, showing an obtuse angle, but it's like perfect, coming to a point. So again, this even has shadow below it. So this even looks like we're seeing part of a plane of a craft or a wing popping out. Let's move on. I'm going to zoom in on 8.2. I don't get it too much more. Maybe you see something. Actually, we're going to go blow this up again, enlarge it, and right here where my cursor is looks like a pipe with the end of it. You can kind of see it now. You're going to see it better in the next couple slides. So B.2, again, this cluster had me very intrigued. It tells me there's some type of intelligent design involved. We zoom in a little bit more. Here's that diamond shape. It even seems to be like glowing a bit, like it has its own heat or color signatures, energy signatures. And this too, look, that is a designed element. Anyway, slice it. That's not a cloud puff, nor is this down here. Now we look at that element. I wanted to say at B, look at this, is a pipe sticking out. It's a pipe or a cylinder. So is this like, I know some people refer to it as like a cloud maker. Is it this tech up there that's just shooting out this artificial cloud to help cloak everything? I think it very well could be. Or it's just like an exhaust port or something for a bigger craft hovering there. Absolutely, because we'll get A and C, and these are just showing different color signatures popping out. See what else you can find in there with a little more time on your own to check things out. Now this gets really bizarre. We're looking southwest, and I just noticed these flashes of red. A lot of disturbed activity in the sky, which is a telltale, so like a giveaway to me that there is cloak and craft activity going on, because it just kind of erupts out of nowhere, and it's like this fuzzy, I call it staccato cloud effect. It's fuzzy and blurry a little bit, hazy, not hazy, but fuzzy is the word I'm looking for. A little bit fuzzy and choppy. And that tells me something's up there creating either electromagnetic wave activity or it's sending out other types of frequencies to disturb the local atmosphere to help cloak a larger body of the sky from multiple craft, is my opinion. Or it's one huge craft up there doing it. And it could be intentional to cloak or cloak things in the bigger sky, or it could be just like a byproduct of how these crafts power themselves, or a combination of both, which is what I think it is, a combination of both. Anyway, look at this. So when I get to the enhancements, this just goes, wow, there is so much more going on that met the eye in that scene. So to me already, 8.1 looks like something flew in here. This purple object has like a trail coming in behind it if you watch the movement. I'm not sure what this dark object is. I want to say that's got to be a cloak and craft in and of its own right. As is B.1, we get a sharp line here and here. I think we're looking at some type of triangular craft on angle. We've got a bright, bright white point when everything else is in color behind it. That tells me that there's tech or bursts of energy or machinery involved, with reflection on it. And then C.1, we get this weird, looks like standalone craft with light coming up that's generating a shadow, perhaps. Then we got a lot of mysterious stuff lurking here, but down here too at D.1, I'm going to call that a cloaking craft as well. Now keep in mind the sun is setting supposedly somewhere down here where we see the more warm tones, the golder ones. But this burst of red is inexplicable unless something is generating it right from above here locally. This is just an overall, like, mystifying view. See what you see in here, but here's that thing where, look, pure white objects, that's an object. No way, other way to look at it, because it's in the foreground of something with all color, and we even look like we have shadow on it. And then here's that thing I'm calling the craft. I'm not sure what this is doing up here, but all of this is so damn intriguing. And something down here too, this darker shadow looming in the back. I'm also saying that's cloak and craft. Now, whether that's a standalone craft here, you see the sharp lines of a diamond-shaped form, or if this is like a part of a bigger thing all connected, I have no idea. But look at, we got these straight lines. Looks like a spoiler or like a whale tail coming back here. What the heck is going on? This looks like a standalone craft as well. And again, we've got stuff at different angles. This is going up this way. This is going this way. Everything's doing its own thing, and that would not happen in a natural cloud system in this area of the world, or really any area of the world. So we're going to zoom in a little on this thing that I was saying is a triangular-like craft. You can just see it. It looks like we're maybe looking at the underbelly as it's rising up, when we're seeing the two wings, and then that would be the point of it. Very fascinating. Is this just breaking through our dimension or exiting, and that's like a burst of energy? I don't know. See what you think. And again, look at this thing. Pure white with this in the background. Anyway, like I always say, if you see anything fun in these images that I'm missing, whether it's based in logic or just something pure fun and fantastical, like of what you see in these images, and you feel like sharing it, kindly do so in the comment section below, just if you want to. Oh, I'm looking here too. At C.3, maybe this is just the tip. I'm starting to see angles coming down off of it. Maybe this is a repeat of this craft. Maybe it's another companion craft doing the same thing. Maybe these things are just kind of bursting through into our dimension, coming and going. I don't know. What's your thought on that? All right, now we're looking somewhere else in town. Sorry, this isn't north-northeast. Actually, it is. I forgot the little dash. Sorry. So we're looking north-northeast toward the evening on December 15th. And this caught my attention at A because we have like a very specific pointed elliptical form carved out of this. This is a very ragtag kind of cluster that's not a normal cloud formation whatsoever, nor at C, and something weird seemed to be happening at D. So sure enough, with some extreme enhancement, look at this. We've got like an object popping up. This looks like the top of a ship, where that would be the deck. And then we've got like a little, sharp edge with shadows. So this tells me this is a standalone craft. Looks like there's some companion craft or scout craft going along with this thing. That's just my take on it. See what you think is happening in that scene. We're going to zoom in one more time. It is fuzzy and grainy just because it was so dark, getting dark. My camera can only do so much when it gets dim out. But also there was a lot of particulate in the sky, making it hazy and fuzzy. But here we start to see some specific ridges with shadows, coming along as we move into this pointed ellipse. So I'm just going to say it. Yeah, that's a craft, kind of cloaking and tucked in there. Something else weird is happening above it right here where my cursor is. Weird things are happening in here too, but again, I think these are like companion craft, maybe little scout craft or whatever that move alongside it. See what you think. Okay, this is just nothing too extraordinary, just a scene of a coconut palm tree with a moon in the background. That's what it looked like at around 5:20 p.m. on December 15th. All right, now we're going to look south-southwest, and this was just looking really, really strange. Actually, my apologies, I didn't get the orientation updated. This is looking north-northwest. I know that for sure. Just didn't update this in time to get the show out. Anyway, this started to look really strange and not like a natural cloud formation. Additionally, it was so insanely low in the sky, it also begs you to have a look, and it draws attention. So anyway, look at this. There's nothing natural about that profile of this supposed cloud, assembly. Then we get to this, a standalone triangular form breaking away from all of it. Looks like a triangular form here. There's also a crystalline structure happening in here, like a rectangular form, where it has, I call it crystalline because sometimes these things just look like transparent crystals. And I've noticed that a lot. And when these are present with a dark background behind them, it tells me absolutely that's like a machine part or something sticking out of one of these craft, or some type of sensor that it's sending out, some type of tech. Anyway, look a little bit more on your own, see what you find in that scene as well. And now, similarly, this is just strange. Now, this is looking south-southwest, really west-southwest. What kind of assembly is that? That's not a natural cloud. So we're going to break it down into elements A, B, and C. Hang on one second. Okay, just trying to eliminate these little voice pops and cracks. So A, B, and C, we get three distinct elements. Here, something coming on sharp angle with straight lines, parallel. This even looks like a bigger crystal actually itself, like a pointed crystal. And then we've got this moon or cashew nut shape here, and then a separate element here. There's also a little triangular form here. Something looks like it flew out of here and is, parked right there. Looks like something else is jettisoning off and coming over here. So there's absolutely some type of otherworldly activity happening in here. See what you think, but also when we look down here below, all of this is acting very strangely too. and we see these two little chunk elements. To me, that's got to be craft that launched out of here. I'm only noticing it now, otherwise I would have zoomed in here and covered it on the show too. Anyway, let's keep moving. This is just a gorgeous, gorgeous oak tree that we're looking through at the moon. And I did enhance this one, so the moon actually kind of looks like the sun. But it was really weird. It was like one of those perfect Halloween nights where things were kind of foggy and misty. But we do see back in here, looks like some type of objects forming around, this ball, which, by the way, at this point, I think also we've got artificial tech absolutely is the moon or around or projecting on the moon. Either way, within it, whatever. Time will tell in that when we get more truth popping up as we are leaps and bounds coming into this new year. Okay, now we're looking northeast, and this was just weird. Mostly I noticed the strange color signature of this warmer red-pink forming, and stuff just seemed really weird. This isn't any type of typical cloud for Miami. And something strange happening down here, darker, looked like it's absolutely being cloaked. So we look to the right. Sure enough, it looks like a sphere is being cloaked back in here. It's very low in the atmosphere. Then we get this. Okay, look at, there's a ring, a perfect circle with these things radiating off of it. And at 8.1, I invite you to go look at the cover of Sky Candy 2, my earlier show. It's either the cover or as you get into the show, referring to that, cover piece. This exact same symbol or etching or whatever that is, or relief, it's like a bas relief of this, a ring with these like 3 bands, and maybe more. They're almost like a pleated, I don't know, configuration. Anyway, that exact same thing and even scale of it is popping up on the cover of that Sky Candy 2 show, or further in the show. And I'm mystified by this because now we're seeing this pop up again. And it was in conjunction with a sphere. And here we see a clear edge of a sphere over here too and down here. So what is this? At first I just thought, not that it was just, a trick of the camera or pareidolia. This is too rigid and too designed to be anything but a very clear symbol. So, but now that it's popping up again, I'm going to look further into this. Now, I have said on other shows, what better place to give soft disclosure to all of us humans here who are ready to accept it and be open-minded and see it, than to use the sky as your canvas and give you clues. We all have heard of crop circles. It's a very real phenomenon. But they only happen in regions where you have crops. Well, we don't have crops here. So how do you reach a bigger audience? Do it in the sky, paint it, show it, display it in the sky. And I absolutely think that's what's going on right now. I think we're getting glorious soft disclosure with those who want to see it in our skies if we just look. Anyway, all that said, we put contrast on here. I see weird formation here. Look at this thing. That's not a natural cloud formation. That is an object. I don't know what it is, but that's clearly an object. We've got a right angle tucked in there. We've got like shadow and highlight areas. That's something with intelligent design. I still have no idea what this piece is in between these two objects. But see what you think is going on. This is also starting to be a pure triangular form. Now keep in mind, I notice a lot of extra activity toward sunrise and sunset, and especially when it's really dim. It just seems like all of these things come out to play. So keep that in mind if you're taking any photos for your own sake. And I highly recommend, if you don't know how to do this, just get a program like PowerPoint and drop your photo in and play with the tools there. You just need contrast. You just need to play around with the levels of the contrast, the brightness, and the color saturation. That is it to get all of this glorious wonder going from the original on the left to what we can find on the right. Okay, I'm zooming in one more time. It's really grainy again because it's getting really dark out there and there's a lot of particulate in the air. But again, here's this triangular form I see. I hope you see it too. Again, what is this little thing, bridging, or maybe it's just floating in front of whatever's going on here? I don't know. But look at this. This is a clear structure. This has intelligent design to it, as does this. We're looking at the corner of something. So as I always say, I would love to be looking at this in the sky without all the smoke and mirrors and just let us see the truth. Let us see what's going on. We're ready. At least some of us are. And if we're not, it's got to happen sometime. So let that be now, is my opinion. Anyway, here we go. Here's again that scene. So we had that weird little bridge-like element, whatever that was. A pure angle here once again. But with enhancement, we don't really get to what's going on over here at D too much. But again, just another view that we've got structure happening in here. And as we expand our view, we kind of see there's something of a circular form or spherical or elliptical form happening down in here. Looks like something zoomed in down this way now, like a triangular form. See what you see going on in there. Something also darker, kind of being hidden. This might even be a massive structure if you follow my cursor. It's easy to get caught in details sometimes. We've got to remember, though, that this might just be a tiny piece of something absolutely massive in the sky. It's not always easy to tell. Also, the more I look at this red-pink, this also might be part of one big massive sphere in the sky being cloaked. I would not be surprised at all. And again, go see why I'm not surprised if you look at my description box below and what could be making this red-pink signature in a place where there shouldn't be any red. We're talking northeast at sunset. Why is this so red here? Also, the past couple nights I noticed from the absolute north all the way to southeast, it was pure red in the sky at the horizon with a huge blanket of cloud, artificial cloud, all over it. But you could see that the entire side of the sky, where it shouldn't be, actually the opposite of where it should be, like reddish or warm with the sunset. This was on the opposite side. And when you look to the sunset side or the west, there was no red pink color at all. So we got to start asking ourselves a lot of questions here. We don't have to, but it's a good idea, I think, to see what's going on in the world around us and why are things not adding up anymore. And how do we get to the truth so things start to add up in ways that are absolutely fascinating and I don't know, get ourselves a little excitement about what's coming. There are a lot of gloom and doom scenarios, doom and gloom, however you want to say it. I don't believe in those whatsoever. So I believe actually what's going on all around us, the signs coming in, if there are planetary bodies coming in, which I absolutely have seen and believe, that are being obscured, by all these smoke and mirrors techniques by others. If we could actually truly see these as we're supposed to, it would tell us that we're at a shifting of times, not an end of times, but a shifting of an age or shifting of times on this planet, or we're going to be living in a new way. But it's not bad, it's going to be good. But we can't see that with all the veiled stuff going on. And so in my book, nothing to fear, just observe, see what we're dealing with, and know that if you believe in a loving God and a loving universe, a loving Jesus, a loving Buddha, a loving Allah, whatever you look to, it's good. It's not going to come here and be wrathful and vengeful and kill people. And even if there is something like that happens with the planet, it's just going to be the cycle of the planet needing to regenerate itself or go through growing pains. But I don't believe that human life, at least the loving and good intended life here, will just be washed away, destroyed. I do firmly believe there's a plan that if the world were to go through some natural disaster type stuff, you know, the human populace would be already accounted for, planned for, and safely removed from the planet in a good way and live on. That's what I'm going to say. Don't know why that all came up just now, but it did for a reason. See what you think about all that. All right. Now we're going to look to the northeast, and again, this is the moon coming up supposedly. Now, of course, it's going to be all grainy and fuzzy a bit. My camera can only do so much. But here we see a weird white pale glow coming off the sun. Sun. It almost is like the sun, the moon, which really shouldn't quite do that. Looks like there are little objects and things happening around it, like we saw looking through the oak tree. But then there's this massive, very oddball, quote-unquote cloud. I can't even call that a cloud, welling up from really low in the sky, right? Sitting parked there, you can see the shape of it. And then something weird is happening at sea. We see this like activity moving up this way, which should not happen. So in my opinion, this is absolutely, a deliberate attempt to cover up what's going on with the moon. And here we go. And so we get this gold signature now with enhancement. You see this thing parking right in front. That's not a natural shaped cloud and it's too low, etc., etc. Hang on one second. Sorry about that. So anyway, and then C.1, look at this. We get a red signature. Hello, red-pink signature again, where it shouldn't be, off to the northeast, past sunset, as this moon is coming up, supposedly. So there's also something weird happening up here with a different color signature, more toward white. Anyway, see what you can find. As I always say, when I narrate these shows, narrate them on a laptop screen, which is of a certain size and scale, bigger than a handheld device, which is more toward the thumbnail size. If I narrated this show on a thumbnail size, image, looking at it, I would probably see totally different things than what I'm seeing with this blown up on a bigger screen. So I invite you, here too, I'm going to jump around. So I invite you, if you have the luxury of having a bigger like laptop screen and a smaller handheld device, if you can run them at the same time, place them one over the other kind of, and just kind of toggle your view up to look at one and down to the other as doing the narration, or just, mute me and do this exercise on your own without me talking, and just kind of see what you can see. You're going to see totally different things, guaranteed. So here I start to see, a linear form, in this reddish thing. So I'm going to call that a craft. This is separate craft maybe. And then look at this. We see a sharp edge. Look at this clean line. So that tells me there's some type of cloak and craft here too. Probably, I'm just guessing, a triangular form, but that is a clear line diving down. And if this even were supposedly a natural cloud, which it wouldn't be because it's coming down a sharp angle, all the other clouds would be following suit, or all of them would be going across horizontal in a typical South Florida sky. That isn't happening. We have this line coming down this way, this curving, this coming straight up. Totally different movement. Look at this, is even looking like a straight line too. So I think there's another object, buried down in here. Anyway, I'm going to say this is riddled with cloak and craft, and they're parking there to try to obscure a clean, clear view of the moon because it's doing something odd. And again, because I do believe artificial activity in tech. Sorry, hold on. I'm back. Artificial, tech and stuff is employed here too, just as it is with the quote-unquote sun these days. All right, now we're going to look at this scene looking east in the afternoon. What caught my attention was not only how weird this stuff is looking and the consistency of it. It's kind of like this milky foam wash that comes out of if it leaks out of a washing machine. And that's just not like normal cloud consistency for this area. It's also bursting up this way, bursting over this way. And then we have this thing doing its own thing coming up here on angle at A. So we look to the right, and because that bursting, I'm saying that on purpose because we get a color signature and energy signature, linked with that energy moving that way and this way. And look at this, is even springing off this way, all these little parts and pieces. And so that tells me that this is once again, smoke and mirrors and cloaking for a ton of little, craft kind of hiding in there and doing their own thing. Then we look at 8.1, and it's still so strange. This is the odd man out. What the heck is going on here with this angle, sharp angle up there? So we're going to look at that. We're going to zoom in just on this piece. It's just so strange in and of itself. And then we get different color signatures now. Where we had gold here, now this starts to go greenish. And that only happens occasionally. Out of all the shows I've done, there's very few of these where the color signature turns green. Anyway, look at this. We've got dark shadow here. We've got weird things popping off the side of this thing. And again, the angle on its own right just tells me something's not quite right there. There also, I think, is something cloaking in here. It looks like a heavier cloak coming over, whatever's bridging between these two elements. So I think there's cloaking craft in here as well. Sorry, one more moment. I got to clear my voice. Hang on. Okay, I'm back. And also, look now, we have this bright, bright stuff happening. So again, it's getting reflection off of something. Regardless, we see that this looks like it's very engineered, whatever's happening right here on this top surface. So again, tells me there's cloak and craft going on all in here. It is also possible where we see this void. I start to see a ring-like form shaped here. This could be a pointed elliptical bigger craft that's cloaking behind, these two elements. See what you think, though. All right, now we're looking east, and this overall thing's still strange. I think it's part of what I was looking at earlier, but in a different part of town at a different time. But look what's moving in down here now at 8.1. What the heck is this thing? And then this looks like another standalone object with a pure form. Look at this. Pure, clean form, elliptical form, oval, not oval, but like elliptical, I'd say, with a point on it. So to me, this is, and look at this pure arc. This is definitely craft, multiple craft. We've got two holes here, two perfect holes. Got weird stuff happening here off to the side as well. Look at these lines with shadow below them. Very precise. So I'm going to say this is all cloak and craft, multiple cloak and craft. Then we get a huge sky imprint coming down in here off the left side. Again, look at this line. It's a symmetrical form. So I'm going to say there's a much, you can see it here too even, there's a much bigger craft happening here off to the left, I'd say. And stuff flying in front of it or alongside it, perhaps. See what you see. Here's one more view. We're expanding out, different part of town, looking at this thing. Here you get a bit better view of this overall imprint. So I'm calling that thing a whole cloak and craft going on in here. And then also, some coming in there. And look at these lines coming in here. So as I always say, in a typical South Florida sky, even if these were true cumulus clouds or similar clouds you could, point to in a book of yore, with the classifications of clouds, which these are on their own page. There's nothing like this back then. You would still see that even so, a grouping of them would be consistently going across the sky. We wouldn't have something coming in on one sharp angle, an opposing angle, and yet again doing this, splaying off in all different directions. No way. So now we look at it with enhancement, and I can really only get to that we've got a pure rim. Look at this edge of something, like a disc form or like an elliptical form happening here. And other stuff's happening all over the place. I'll leave this to you to have a look at, maybe toggle back and forth and see what you can see when you have a little more time on your own. And now I just want to say thanks for stopping by here a while. You're a real gem. I want to say that because we're going to get another view of this glorious forest crystal. Just love it. I just love how we've got the green embedded within the crystal. And then here in the sunlight, we see this beautiful color here too, just all so earthy and gorgeous. And this is actually a cluster, so I'm calling it an overall crystal, but it's really a cluster of them. Just exquisite. So anyway, I just want to wish all of you, again, just a glorious right now, whatever's going on. I hope, even if it's something maybe a little bit lower vibed, you can just find something just to even lift you up a notch. You're not going to zoom up all the way to, we're so happy if you're down in the dumps, obviously. But at least if you can do anything just to get a notch higher than where you are. So listening to music, going out in nature, looking around at beautiful things, and see what you can do. Otherwise, if you're already high vibed and flying great, fantastic. Keep it up because we need you to help bring the rest of us up these days who might be struggling with a lot of the draconian measures and over-the-top craziness happening in our global system, which is crumbling, thank goodness. So the good news is 2022 is bringing happier and higher vibrations. I'm with all of you in spirit and give you hugs, actual real hugs, imagining a nice big hug if you need it, none of this virtual crap. And I want to say, just sending you tremendous peace and love. Lavender Sky Panther, bye.